Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I made these gorgeous sugar glass flowers. I also decided to go ahead and make this cake very unique in this abstract geometric pattern with some edible images and some rock candy and gold leaf. So let's get right to it. First, I'm going to go ahead and crumb coat my cake. I just used... what did I use for this color? I think this is a very pale shade of teal, just like one drop, not very much is how I achieved this color. And this cake is just kind of a hodgepodge of all the same size tiers, or same size cakes. They're all 6-inch cakes, but I had different flavors. I had some leftover cakes in my freezer. I wanted to use them up, so I decided to use them on this design. Nobody's going to eat it. This is just for educational purposes. So a crumb coat is just putting on a thin layer of buttercream to lock in your crumbs so they don't come through on your final coat. And I put them in the cake into the freezer to firm up while I started my flowers. Now I'm just using isomalt, the store-bought kind. I will have a link to it in the video description. And you just heat it up according to the directions. You need to get it up to a temperature of 320 degrees. Now be careful when doing these, guys. You can burn yourself very easily. If you have heat-proof gloves, use them. But if you don't have them, just keep an eye on where that isomalt is. You can so easily burn yourself. And these are just petal formers that I have. I have 3 different kinds. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I can count. 4 different kinds. And I didn't care if they were all exactly the same because these are more kind of an abstract kind of flower anyways. So I'm just putting it into the mold and putting a floral wire in it, put the top on, and then press in that pattern. That gives you the veining inside of that petal. So that's how they end up looking. You could make them bigger if you want to. You could just use a Q-tip to direct that isomalt further up the mold. I just decided not to, just to kind of let them be the way they wanted to be. I wasn't too concerned with it. And I had 2 different colors. I did the clear, and then I did a very pale shade of pink. I don't know if you can tell the difference there, but I did 2 of the pink, 1 of the clear. So I lined these up on a piece of parchment paper, and I'm using some confectioner's glaze to take the cloudiness away and add some shine to them. And it seals them so that they don't get cloudy as quickly. You can see some of the rock candy on top there. I did try spraying those as well to try to remove some of that cloudiness, but I didn't end up using them. It did work, but I didn't end up using them because I'm going to do something else with that rock candy that you'll see in a minute here. So I just did one side, let it dry, and then I turned them over and I did the other side as well. Now we're going to go ahead and put our final coat of buttercream on our cake. I'm just going to speed through this because you guys have seen me do this quite a few times if you've been following me for a while. I don't always show all of the whole frosting process because it just takes a long time. But anyway, you can go back on other older videos if you want to see exactly how I do that. Then I just line them up. I'm trying to make sure that the middle 3 petals are the smaller ones out of all of them. They're going to be 6 petals each, 3 in the middle and 3 on the outside edge. And I'm just using my floral tape to attach them at the base. And then just wrap that floral tape all the way to the end of your stems. You don't have to have them this long, but I knew that the way I wanted to arrange them was going to need longer stems. So I just kind of left them as long as they were until I got to the point of actually putting them on the cake. And here you can see I'm just kind of arranging those petals. That's why the flower or the wires are important in these, because you can manipulate those petals where you want them. You don't have to do it that way. You can arrange them in like in a glass bowl or something with some isomalt at the center, some melted isomalt. But I wanted to be able to arrange them, and there was just a different way I wanted to put them onto the cake. I'm going to speed through this as well. Don't mind my Band-Aid. I had an ouchie. And this is what I'm doing with the rock candy. This is just the kind you can buy on Amazon. There should be some in the link in my favorites in my video description. I just colored some Everclear with a little bit of gel food coloring, and I just kind of gave them a little bath and then put them on a paper towel to let them dry. That Everclear is going to make them dry really quickly. Now these are my edible images. I found some free printable images online and I printed them out on my edible sheets with my edible printer. Now you are going to need an edible printer if you're going to want to do this. So that's one of the downsides. Maybe you can find, I did used to have a lady in California before I had a printer who would print for me. So there are people out there that you can pay to do this. They are just very cautious of copyright. So you got to make sure that your images are free. And I applied those onto a thin layer or a thin piece of fondant, colored the same color as the cake, and just applied them with some piping gel is all I did. And I was just going for random geometric patterns. And I did not have it planned out exactly where I wanted them to go. I just kind of eyeballed it. This kind of reminds me, honestly, of like a patchwork quilt is what it reminds me of. And truth be told, at heart, I am definitely a fan of florals and shabby chic florals in particular. I think these color combinations here and the style of flowers on this image are very shabby chic-ish to me. So I just applied those, like I said, with some piping gel, and I'm doing the same with the rock candy. Now, hindsight's 2020. I wish I'd put a little bit more pink in that Everclear because I didn't end up as pink as I wanted. Honestly, looking at it now, you can't even really see any pink. So if I were to do it again, which I'm not, but if I were to do it again, I would add more pink into the Everclear when you're giving them that bath. And just using some more piping gel to apply them to the buttercream. I wouldn't use buttercream underneath there necessarily, just because you don't want it to poke out. If you're having troubles with your rock candy sticking to the chilled buttercream layer underneath, go ahead and use a little bit of buttercream behind, like just pipe on a very thin line, like a number 2 tip of buttercream to attach those crystals to them. And I decided I wanted to kind of connect them to each other by making lines of just the rock candy. You wouldn't have to do that if you didn't want to, but I kind of just thought that kind of completed it. And then I put it in the refrigerator before I'm applying the gold leaf, edible gold leaf, because I just wanted it to kind of solidify and make sure that those were glued on there real good with the piping gel. Some of them did want to move around a little bit, but if you have trouble, don't worry. Just put it into your refrigerator once everything's done, and it will adhere itself to the buttercream. It will. It's just as you're working with it and it's fresh and it's soft, not the buttercream, but the piping gel, it can be a little slickery. I'm just using a combination of tools to apply this gold leaf. Some brushes, and then some tweezers, and then my fingers sometimes. Sometimes it sticks better with your fingers. It can be a little messy. So, if your brush gets overly sticky and you're having a hard time getting it to let go of the brush that you're trying to apply it with, just grab another brush. And then I just made a U shape, kind of a long staple kind of look or shape with some floral wire. Again, I say this every time. Just make sure you tell people if you do this technique on how to attach your decorations to your cake, just make sure you tell your customers so they know to remove them. Just communicate, put it in a contract, whatever you need to do. Because those are not going to stay on the side with buttercream. I don't know of any other way to get them attached. I really don't. And then some of these, this one I am using 2, one at the bottom also because I don't want that bottom part sticking out of the bottom part of the stem. And I'm just kind of messing with them till I get them where I want them. And then I did cut the stem down on this bottom one because obviously it wasn't as long, didn't need to be as long. And then I'm anchoring it at the bottom again. Nothing else is attaching those to the cake besides the wires. So there it is, all done, guys. I hope you liked it. Hope you got something. As always, I appreciate you watching. Please do all the things, the like, comments, and sharing. I don't always respond to comments, but I do see them, guys, and I do appreciate all of them. Catch you next time. Thanks.